Hey everyone, I hope you're all doing really well. Today I thought it would be fun to just do an overview of all of the cheek products and face products in my collection that have pan in them. Today we're going to be talking about the blushes, the bronzers, highlighters, and face powders in my collection that have pan in them. And then after my first update for my Pan Those eyeshadows, sometime between that first update and the second update, I want to share with you all the pans in my eyeshadow collection as well in a roundup video. So yes, I am so excited. It has been almost 2 full years since I've done a pans kind of roundup video, so I'm really excited. I just feel like this will be so much fun. I'd love to hear down in the comment section any products that you've recently hit pan on, and yeah, let's just get right on into it. I have a basket here, so I'm not going to talk about these in any particular order. I'm just gonna jump on into it and just share them with you however I so please. So the first item I have here comes from my e.l.f. Illuminating palette. I recently hit pan on this more bronzy kind of color right down here. I hit pan on this in my Roulette Pan collab in the most recent round of that project, round 9. And I'm really happy to see this little bit of pan, especially because this was a gift with purchase. This was a palette that I had hardly really reached for until 2021. And once I started integrating it into my routine, I really came to enjoy this. Now, I would absolutely love to see more pan in this palette. Hands down, that would be amazing. So I need some suggestions on how would you use these 2 shades? Do you just use these as like your standard top of the cheekbone kind of highlighters, or would you use them more so as a finishing powder? Let me know, because these 2 are very comparable. Perhaps this one is a little bit more beigey and this one's got a bit more of a slightly pinky kind of tone to it, but barely. This bronze one, what I was doing with it was using it as a kind of buffer topper kind of product. So I would apply my bronzer and blush or whatever kind of cheek products I was wearing that day, and then I would use this to kind of diffuse everything together and to give it a soft sheen. So yeah, let me know about some suggestions for the other products. If you have experiences using this palette, please let me know how you would reach for them as well. Next up, I have my Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Finish Skin Perfecting Micro Powder. This is in the shade 2 Medium. I recently repressed this with the NYX Nectar, which came from the Highlight and Contour palette. And it was, well, maybe about 3 weeks ago that I had repressed it. But since I have expanded the pan so massively, and I've actually got hardly any product remaining in here, which is amazing. I did have pan on the NYX powder and on this powder prior to mixing the 2 together, so I definitely wanted to share that with you today. I'm pretty close to working out 2 products for my collection by having mixed them together, and that feels really good. And I love the combination of these 2 as well, because the highlighter was a very soft highlighter. It wasn't like a metallic finish by any means. It was a very soft, natural kind of sheen. And although I have no familiarity with the product itself, it is reminiscent to what I imagine the Kosas powder is like. Very soft, velvety, kind of illuminating kind of setting powder. That's what I get out of this combination, and today I have it all over my face. I kind of touched it up a couple hours ago and haven't done it recently, but I love the way that it looks. It doesn't look powdery on the skin. It doesn't look heavy at all. It looks very natural and it looks so good, this combination. The Charlotte Tilbury powder on its own was definitely good. It did the trick for sure. It would set my under eyes, set my face. It would help to blot kind of if I was feeling kind of oily or things were moving around a little bit. It could lock things in place for sure. But the price point I feel like is really hefty, and I don't think it's worth that price point by any means. I'm looking forward to actually just getting this out of my collection and then moving on to something new later on this year. I don't know what it will be, but it definitely won't be as costly as this product. That is for sure. Totally not important, but here's the empty pan of Nectar. So soon enough, I'll actually be able to call both of these products empties from my collection. I'm so happy about that, because this I had lingering for so long. I had that NYX palette back, I think in like 2016 or maybe 2017, and this was very, very slow going for me. It was a beautiful product. I just oftentimes forgot to reach for it, so I'm happy I actually mixed it with the Charlotte Tilbury, and now I'm flying through those powders. This is the Essence Satin Touch Blush in the shade Satin Love. This is a blush that I've had in my collection for absolutely eons, so if you have any sort of familiarity with me or my channel, you probably know I love this product. This color is beautiful. This texture is really great. However, it has kind of changed a little bit because I have repressed it. And seeing as it's repressed, this is something that I will be able to go through a little bit more quickly. I do have a hard time with powder blushes and blushes in general in actually like getting use out of them. It takes me quite a long time to actually finish them up, but this is a product that I adore, and I'm really happy to see that it looks so well loved. And even though it was a super inexpensive blush, it has survived with me for so long because it is a stunning color and a really beautiful formula as well. Next up is a Colourpop Super Shock Cheek. This was a limited edition one in the shade Blow Me Out. I have a lot of pan on this product because I worked on it in my Roulette Pan collab several years back actually, and then I also pulled it into my Partners in Cream project pan last year to expand the pan, and my goal was honestly to finish it up, but I feel like I have a decent amount of pan in this. Like, there's not a ton of product remaining by any means. This isn't something that's available anymore. It wasn't even available for that long. It was part of their 3rd birthday collection, but it's a stunning bronzy highlighter that I think looks beautiful as a base. Because of its creamy texture, it sits really well underneath of foundations and tinted moisturizers, and it offers this gorgeous glow that I cannot get enough of. I really adore this product, and I'm glad that it looks as loved as I feel about it. Why don't we just talk about a few more highlighting products actually. This one is the Physicians Formula Butter Blush, but I use this as a highlighter. This is in the shade Natural Glow. This shade is a soft kind of peachy, rose golden kind of tone. I'm wearing it just a very, very small amount of it on like the tops of my cheekbones today and kind of blended down into my blush. I love this product for that specific use. Very similar to that e.l.f. highlighter actually that I talked about, using it as a diffusing kind of buffer, topper kind of shade. It adds a little bit of luminosity, and it just helps to make everything look perfectly melded and diffused and beautiful and soft and effortless, if you know what I mean. So I'm happy that I have a ton of pan on this. This is something that I want to eventually work out of my collection because I no longer support this brand. But this is, again, a product I hit pan on in my Roulette Pan collab. That is wild to me, actually. I think a good majority of the products I have here, I've hit pan on in a multitude of different Roulette Pan collab rounds because that project has just been such a consistent part of my panning journey, and I oftentimes set myself goals to hit pan on my products in that project pan. But in any case, this is a really gorgeous product. I love to reach for it very often, even though I'm not actively panning it right now. I've been reaching for it a lot lately. This next product I think is the oldest product in my makeup collection now. I think it might be. I'm thinking back on everything that's in my collection and when I brought it into my life, and this is probably the oldest thing. It may be for a lot of you as well because it was a cult favorite many years ago. It is the Mary Luminizer by the Balm. This is quite a throwback product, but this is another one of those items that I had repressed. I did have a decent amount of pan in it previously, and I was kind of on a repressing spree a few years ago where like anytime I had pan in something, I just want to repress it. And I ended up doing that and then hitting pan on it again. So that is great. That goes to show that even after repressing it, I was reaching for it and loving on it. I did not hit this pan during a round of Roulette Pan collab that I'm aware of, but this is something that I'm going to have to prioritize panning sooner than later because it is getting up in age and it is a really beautiful formula. I would say it's not my absolute favorite formula, and especially now it's not my preference when it comes to these very blingy highlights, but it is beautiful and it does serve its purpose in certain settings. It is just absolutely stunning. But like if I was going out to like a party or to a bar or concert, this is definitely the highlighter that I would wear because I want to be beaming, you know? I wanna be blingy. Another very blingy highlighter that I've actually recently hit pan on, this is the Anastasia Beverly Hills Amrezy highlighter. I hit pan on this in my Roulette Pan collab, what do you know? This was from the most recent round of that project, and it's just a bitty little pan, just a teeny tiny little prick of a pan, but it still is there. It is very, very much concentrated right in the middle, but this is a stunning highlighter. This is one of my favorite highlighters, I think, of all time, even though it is very, very strong, very, very glowy. I feel like I can really work with it to get different types of finishes. So recently I've been reaching for it, even though I hit pan on it, I hit my goal in my Roulette Pan collab. I've been finding myself wanting to reach for this lately, especially as an inner corner highlight, which I have it on today as an inner corner highlight. But I've been wearing this and then I'll put a powder bronzer on top of it. So I'll put this on my cheeks after I've set my under eyes and then use my powder bronzer on top to kind of soften the feeling or the impact of it rather. And it also just allows it to look more natural because this can definitely offer that very like stripy, blingy, metallic kind of look. But it has versatility to it, and I just truly think it's such a stunning tone. Another face powder that I've hit pan on, I've had this pan for absolutely ages. This is the Milani Conceal and Perfect Shine Proof Powder. I have mine in the shade 03 Natural Light. She's got some pretty good pan in there. This is a product that I've worked on, I think, in a couple of project pans at this point, and it's something that I'd like to roll into my project pan this year as well because I want it gone. I'm ready to say goodbye to this product. It does what it needs to do. It locks things in place when it has to, but I just am kind of impartial to it. I'm kind of just ready to work it out of my collection, seeing as I've had it for so long, and I'm ready to try something else in its place. This does make a really nice powder foundation though, because it is, although it's targeted as one that's more for like oily skin and to reduce shine, it does still look very skin-like in my opinion when I apply it with a buffing brush and kind of like work it into the skin. It's beautiful like that. So this is something that I can get a variety of different types of finishes and applications out of, but I'm just kind of over it at this point. So I might end up having to repress it so that I can run through it a little bit quicker. Is that cheating? I don't know. Let me know. I also have a pan in my Makeup Geek and Kathleen Lights highlighter palette. This palette has been on my channel many a times over the past few years, but I only have pan in this shade right here. I think this one is called Sunlight. I find naming conventions on the back of palettes absolutely confusing, but I think it's Sunlight. It could be Nightlight though. I don't know. I did hit pan on this in a different round of Roulette Pan collab from all of the other ones that I've talked about in today's video, but I do recall this being in a round of that project pan. I don't know if I'll ever be able to hit pan on the other two shades here, just given that these are not my preferences when it comes to highlighter tones. This one is beautiful as a bronzer topper, similar to how I was talking about that e.l.f. one earlier on. This one is kind of all right as like a blush topper kind of product, but not a favorite of mine. This one, however, I'd love to see myself expand the pan on in due time, but it's not on the top of my like to pan or to finish priority list as it stands. The other highlighters I've spoken about today would definitely be higher up on that list for sure. They are really beautiful, great formulas, but no longer available, and not exactly my cup of tea. I really wish that I had just purchased like one, but this was a collaboration palette with Kathleen Lights, and so you had to get the whole thing. And at the time I was like, I want to be swimming in highlighter, not only on my face, but like in quantity of highlighters that I own. So that's what happened then. I wouldn't buy it now, knowing the consumer that I am and the way that I use makeup now, but it is what it is. At least there's a pan in it now. Next up is my Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer. This is the second butter bronzer that I've hit pan on. I have completely finished one up in the past, and this is the second one. And as you can see, I have decent pan on here. This is something that I will eventually be able to fly through. There's very little product. It's very thin in there. This is a beautiful product. I love this formulation. I think it looks so effortless and soft and beautiful on the skin. I think this tone is stunning. I don't know if I even mentioned that this is the shade bronzer, but the tone of this is beautiful. The texture of this is beautiful. It is just honestly a great bronzer formula and color. However, not a big fan of the brand, so once I work my way through this, it will be gone. So there is this part of me that sort of wants to savor what remains in here because I won't repurchase it. But the packaging is broken. It doesn't clasp anymore. And there's so little left that I know I could work my way through this in 2022. So I have this like conflicting mixed feelings about it, but it would be so satisfying to use this up, wouldn't it? That'd be hella cool. There's no products, I think, other than like a mascara that I have ever been able to say like I've gone through 2 full sizes of it in the past. So you know what? That would be pretty cool, wouldn't it? Yeah, you might see this in a future project pan. I might end up working on it independently, I'm not sure. And then the final product I have here is actually from my Charlotte Tilbury Filmstar Bronze and Glow Duo. And I have pan on both of these shades right here. Thank goodness, because this has been in several different project pans. This is a product that has been featured on my channel many a times while I've been trying to hit pan on either of these shades. And this is a product I would love to actually use up in its entirety. But there's still so much product in here, I don't even know if that's possible or if that's something I want to take on in the immediate future. But this is in the shade Fair to Medium. Definitely not suited to medium skin. It is only suited to fair to light skin, in my opinion. I always talk about this when I speak about this product, but this shade range is just so bad. It's so bad and so exclusive that is something that kind of holds me back from wanting to share this on my channel. But I always kind of just give that little disclaimer. This is a product that I purchased long ago, and I'm happy to see that I have so much pan in it and that it does look used, but not a favorite, not a recommendation either. But either way, there's pans in there, and one day I think I could use this up. What do you think? If you've ever used this up, please let me know. Please let me know what your experience was with it and how long it took you, because even though I have these tiny little pans here, I can tell there's just so much product remaining in either side, especially the highlights. So that is all of the cheek and eye products in my collection that have pan on them. As I said, I will be sharing with you my eyeshadow pans in the very near future. That is going to be a long video, I believe. Actually, this one, although probably was long because I ramble, this one will definitely be the shorter of the 2 videos. I would love to see more pans, especially in my bronzer and blush category in my collection. So I'm hoping to kind of remedy that this year or in the coming years at the very least. I am happy to be able to look into my collection and see this many pans. It does give me a lot of satisfaction and gratification, especially knowing that one of the largest categories in my collection is highlighters, and I do have a substantial amount of pans in that category. So that feels good. But yes, I have to cut myself off. I am just rambling here. So that is everything. Thank you so much for watching and for hanging out with me, and I will see you in the next one. Bye everyone.